Tonight's performance stars Michael Gambon in John Osborne's The Entertainer.
Today now is my 20th anniversary.
Oh my God, anniversary of what?
The 20th anniversary of my not paying income tax. You don't think I am real, do you? Go on, say it. You don't think I'm real? Well, I'm not. I'd rather have a glass of beer any day. And now, you know, when you're up there, you think you love them, all those people out there, but you don't.
Michael Gambon, The Entertainer. Tonight's performance at 8:15 on BBC2.
In 20 minutes on BBC2, Burt Lancaster is the Birdman of Alcatraz. And before that, what are the chances of an Australian farmer surviving the harsh outback in one of the worst droughts this century?
We bought this place in the 81 drought and been here ever since. Family's been on the land, you know, all their lives, so we've been born and bred in this country. We bought this place and we couldn't afford much in the way of staff, so I just came straight, left school to come here and been here pretty well on my own ever since.
What are your livestock numbers?
Well, they vary from up to about 15,000 head of sheep to about 700 or 800 head of cattle in a really top season. We're down now, we're around 10,000 sheep. The cattle numbers back to about 300 and they're just starting to diminish now. They just started dying probably in the last 2 or 3 weeks. They're getting fairly dry in the cattle area.
How does it compare to other droughts which Australia's experienced?
It's one of the worst that I've seen. It's getting worse every day, and coupled with poor wool prices over the last couple of years, rising costs and taxes as much as anything in the good times, things are getting probably as bad as we've ever seen them.
Radio Broken Hill, 11 a.m. news. Australia's drought enters its second year with no relief in sight. Today's temperature, 41 degrees and fine.
Last year we had to shoot between 7,000 and 8,000 sheep simply because there's no market for them. Wool prices went right down. No one wanted sheep, we couldn't even give them away. So we just rounded them up in mobs of about 1,000 and put them in pens and got 2 or 3 people on the end of rifles and spent day in day out just pulling the trigger. It was a pretty gruesome job.
This watering point's at it. I'll just go up that look at the dam. I'm just on my way heading around the property, checking all the watering points, making sure the stock have got fresh water. It's this time of the year that when the temperature gets up into the high 30s and into the 40s, stock won't go more than 2 or 3 days without good water before they start to suffer, and quite a few of them will start to perish in that time. There's around about 25 watering points on the place, and as you can see, it's the mud starting to show through the bottom of the dam. When that happens, the sheep tend to start to bog in it. The only way to keep them out is to fence the dam off. Once they start to bog, stay in there, they'll get weak and perish within 24 to 48 hours. They've climbed over the fence. They shouldn't have to. They smell the water and just ram through the fence. If they stay in there more than a day or two, but they won't get up again. A bit like that poor character over there. Especially these weaker fellas. This fella hasn't got a mum, and he'll get weak very quickly, like me and this stuff. Come on, mate. Get out. Off you go.
Despite the drought, the sheep still need fresh water. The water in the troughs goes stagnant very quickly with the higher temperatures, so the troughs must be drained and cleaned at least once a week. Yeah, aside from stock work, 90% of the job I do is repairing anything from a stove or a fridge or a dishwasher right through to windmills, fences. While things are so tight money-wise, you know, I'm almost slipping behind, just trying to keep ahead of it. I mean, this place was built to run probably half a dozen workmen. Now it's back to probably one or two through the whole year. So I'm basically doing the job of probably 3 people, I would think. Well, Landry's about 150,000 acres and covers virtually as far as the eye can see. It's because of this that I use the plane to save as much time as possible. It means maintaining about 8 or 10 airstrips on the place, and that's when I drive that beast of a grader. I actually arrived here before I turned 18 and had to think like an adult straight away. After I left school, I watched my friends go off and be pretty free and roam around for a few years, whereas I seemed to be doing a man's job straight away, which didn't do me any harm, I guess, but I missed out doing some of the things that other people did. Another 2 or 3 people, would make life a bit more comfortable, a bit more time to get away, catch up with a few friends.
Peter, you're one of the guy's neighbours. Do you see much of it? Not a great deal. Actually, I'm on my own on the place. He's on his own. We've got a lot to do. Every now and again, if we're passing one another on the road, or we call up on the two-way radio and have a yarn, but apart from that, we sort of do our own thing, and if we run into one another, it's more, I don't know, what you'd call it, just sort of happen to bump into one another, and that's it, sort of more or less. Every now and again we give one another a hand, but not a great deal, I suppose.
I've been out here this long now that I've learnt to live with it, but things can get pretty rough when you're long periods on your own. Probably the single greatest fear, when I'm here on my own, is breaking a leg or something and perishing a couple of days out there. If no one's looking for you, that'll be sort of the finish of it. Probably the biggest fear would be crashing the plane, crashing and burning to death, I guess. Couldn't think of a worse way to die, really. Especially out here, it's hot enough without getting burnt. Once a year I get help from my brother Chester, who comes from his property about 150 miles east of here, and friends like Hunter who come over and give me a hand at shearing time.
What's your job from the ground?
Well, basically the aeroplane grids the paddock, spots the sheep and so forth, and then through UHF radio communication, which are these handheld sets we've got here, and via the headsets and mobile mics, the aeroplane positions us onto the sheep. We can muster up, say, a 10,000 acre paddock doing about, say, 30 or 40 k's each on the bike, as opposed to 150 to 200 k's we'd be riding without the aeroplane. And the time factor's the biggest benefit of it too.
Right, I'm airborne, heading east. Give me a call when you reach Square Dam, Hunter.
Yeah, I got you.
Hunter and Chester, follow me east. Coming around a mob, my left wing tip now. Hunter go left, Chester brake right.
Righto.
Hunter head north about 300 yards.
Yeah, I've got that guy. Righto.
Just take them north over the Sandhill, Hunter.
Righto then.
Mob underneath me now.
Righto then, there's a couple of mobs in front of us, I'll just turn those north on the way out.
Chester and Hunter head north. You'll see me about 2 miles.
Hunter's heading across the creek.
The big mob right in front of you there, Chesty.
Yeah, I just have to put me right on them. I'm thick as hell in here and I can't see very well.
Mob just off the nose, about 200 yards.
Righto guys, got that.
Righto, Hunter and Chester, that's about the whole lot. We might as well head back and grab a bit of breakfast.
How does a mother cope with having a son working out here?
Like any mother, you know, it's ridiculous. I've just driven 120 miles to clean the house, clean the shearers' quarters for him and do a little bit of washing. And I wish I could do it every week, but it's impossible. I can't get up here often enough, and we don't have enough workmen to be with Guy all the time. So, yeah, sure, I worry all the time about him.
Yeah, but the only thing that sort of frightens me out here is spiders, which is pretty common, I guess. I've never been a real fan of them, but I found out I was fairly afraid of them one time when the spiders come out after a big rain and string themselves up between the trees. And there's a thing called a golden orb, which is a few inches across in its web. And I was on the motorbike one day and I looked up and there's these two big spiders 2 feet in front of me. I was doing about 50 k's on the bike and I threw myself off the side of the bike and nearly broke my neck. So I grabbed a shotgun and hit him between the eyes with that.
Now that he's a bit older, he's much better. He used to forget to buy vegetables and fresh fruit and all that sort of thing. But he's much better now. If he's left alone, he tends to eat the right things. Not enough, but the right things. And occasionally he brings his washing back to me at Burton.
You know, if it's a long hot summer, you tend to lose a bit of weight by the end of it. The worst times I find are when the temperature fluctuates. You find that knocks everybody around out here.
This is one of the familiar sights
times like this, just a dust storm coming through, could last anything from a few hours to a few days. But you know, the dust gets into just about everything. That makes life pretty bloody miserable too. About the only thing that really you know, I've suffered from is my eyes, I guess. They're actually growing pterygiums across them from the dust and the glare from the sun, but you know, that's treatable. Just a matter of waiting till you know, the vision starts to go.
He didn't come out here, he was born here. There's quite a difference. I mean, he was mustering at 7 as a tiny tot. He's been helping on the plays.
The old man, he believed in teaching us young, so as soon as we could hold a handpiece, he put us on the end of one. Sort of started shearing when we were about 14 or 15, I suppose. You don't really appreciate how hard it is till you sort of have a go. These blokes here are doing it around about 2 minutes a sheep. When you start, it takes you about 2 or 3 hours a sheep. You work down to about 10 minutes. Well, this is very critical this year due to a combination of factors. Mainly the sheep numbers are down from a peak of about 17,000, 18,000 in a really good time, with flat out shearing 10,000 this year. And due to having to get rid of a lot of sheep last year, which were worthless, we had to shoot them, plus high interest rates and high costs, that the income's just not going to be there this year.
What's the standard of wool like this year as opposed to other years with the drought?
Oh, I don't think it's as good this year. It'll be down what it usually is. Yeah, standard of wool.
And how many sheep will you get through in a week, do you reckon, with your team?
Here, about 5,000 a week, 5 days. Team shooting about 1,000 a day.
What's Guy like to work for, Guy Crossing?
Oh, not a bad bloke. Bad at times, but we get on quite well. Everything seems to go all right. As long as he keeps spending my sheep up, we'll be right.
Once a sheep is shorn, we have to treat them with chemicals which stops the lice. Then it's back into the paddocks.
Get over here. It's been pretty quick shearing. It's only taken just over 2 weeks, so really it's been pretty short. It's another job out of the road, but shearing's not so bad. There's always plenty more to do after shearing. We've still got some stock to get back to their paddocks, and there's still plenty of repair jobs waiting around the corner.
But what we really need is some rain.
This is fantastic. This creek's coming from the hills out here for about 20 miles. There's a creek just starting to come down now. We're in a channel here that's about 15, 20 feet deep. If there's enough water in the hills, it'll be completely full, 20 feet of flat out country, about 10,000 acres further down. It'll keep all the cattle alive if it gets that far. But you can see the creek's moving quite fast already. We haven't seen rain like this in 3 years, I reckon. It's been a good 3 years since we've seen this much water. Just fantastic. Can't believe it.
Radio Broken Hill, lunchtime news. It's fantastic. The drought is over, and that's official.
Would you like something to drink?
Yeah, might have a BB if I could, please. Once you start fiddling about doing something that's not work, you feel you should be, because there's just so much that has to be done. So you really have to make an effort to get away from the place.
Why do you come down here?
That's pretty logical, Hamish. So they sell beer, and being in the desert, it's a pretty hot, dry place, and beer's probably the best thing to drink. It's it's cheaper than water, and the effects are a hell of a lot better.
Do you reckon you'll find your future wife down here?
Yeah, wife in Silverton, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, see, Silverton's not a big town, actually, Hamish. It's
Population of
85. Half of them are men, so that leaves 40. The rest are probably the rest children, so no, I don't think I will get married. No, I don't think I'll find a wife in Silverton.
I think he's like everybody else. Things are tough, and he needs a holiday, like we all do. He needs to get away for a few weeks, a few months, and come back and start afresh, or maybe get married or something.
It's pretty hard to find women out here. Pretty hard to find the right one out here. It's certainly harder to find one that'll stay out here. I went overseas for a couple of weeks. That was, probably the biggest single holiday that I've taken. But aside from that, I usually head off and do something. The holidays I had before, I went off to learn to fly Cessnas and then helicopters. The thought of just sitting around was not at all appealing. So I like to go and do something rather than just lie around doing nothing.
He's got the ability to do anything he wants to do. He's got incredible stickability.
Oh, you can always have a go at anything, I guess. Once you've been out here, you've had a go at most things. So I think if things got rough enough and we couldn't survive out here, well, I'd probably take up flying professionally, head up the cattle country or head overseas. I'd like to have a crack at float planes, actually. Flying probably in Alaska or Canada. Looks like an interesting occupation. It's a heck of a contrast to here, anyhow. Well, we don't fall into hard at times. Make the right decisions. Someone doesn't throw us off, well, I guess I'll still be here, but we'll just see how we go, I think.
Children as young as 5 are at work in virtually every country of the world.
Censorship undermines all other human rights.
Torture is routinely practiced in over 90 countries.
Ethnic cleansing is the genocide of the 1990s.
Several million people have been disappeared since the 1960s.
A week of special programs, Human Rights, Human Wrongs, starts tomorrow at 9:35 on BBC2.
Now on BBC2, Burt Lancaster stars in John Frankenheimer's film drama based on the true story of one of the world's most respected ornithologists, Birdman of Alcatraz.